Hi, so I was just sitting here, relaxing. I've been grounded earlier in the sun. I've just taken some time just in the shade here, just chill out a little bit. It's very hot, intense to get 3 hours of 34, 35 degree sun. Like I said, going through the heat wave. But I want to talk about presence and meditation and what meditation can do for your life. Presence and meditation is probably the most important thing ever. Probably the most important thing for humans. Health, happiness is what we do things, but we want to be present to the moment as much as possible. We want to not take life for granted and habitualize to our lives, but to see things as much as possible with fresh eyes, almost like a baby sees. Like I reckon a baby and a child sees life, you know, like with fresh eyes. They're always seeing for the first time. That's why they're so excited, they've got so much energy, because life is not boring to them. They're still learning, they've got an open mind, all that stuff. And what made me think about it is because as you guys may be aware if you watch my channel, I've had recently, I stopped doing meditation for a long time, but then I recently took a risk and bought for $80 an Equisync Brainwave entrainment program, which has got alpha, theta and delta brainwaves. This has got binaural beats, isochromatic tones into it, and I took a risk on buying it. I was into binaural beats off YouTube before, which worked, but I heard that YouTube didn't work as well with the binaural beats because the conversion rate and the quality is 20% or whatever, so I took a risk, read the testimonials on this Equisync and bought it. And since about about 10 days, and since the day one I was blown away at the results. It says on the thing it's deep meditation. I'd say it puts you in deep meditation within seconds to minutes of listening to it. As you can listen to it as long as you like, 23-minute segments of like up to 6 hours if you get the whole program for $8. If you guys want it, I'll sell it to you very cheap too. Instead of you paying $8, just message me privately on YouTube or Facebook, and yes, I will sell. But yes, yeah, it puts you in a deep state of meditation. I'm obsessed with it. I listen to it every day. Before I go to bed, it gives me the best sleep, and during the day, it has medium to short to long-term benefits. Meditation, deep meditation, and this audio program, and I can feel the difference. You know, my level of presence is higher. And as I was sitting, this is why I want to make the video. As I was sitting here, looking out to the beautiful surroundings, and that tree in particular, that one, which might not be that impressive from this camera, but it's actually, if you were here in person, it's actually a really massive tree. Well, I've always been, I use this graveyard a lot to come to, you know. It's my place to chill out, away from my family, and to ground and to be at peace and do what I want. My protocols, have my urine out and all that shit, and my knob out. Get gentles to the sun too, if I'm not wearing clicky shots, sometimes I do it privately. But yes, anyway, that tree, I've always taken this shit for granted. But as I was sitting here by myself, just for a moment, for a couple of seconds, not on purpose, that my eyes were drawn to that tree, right? My eyes were drawn to that tree, that one in the middle I told you, there. But it wasn't like I was seeing through it, like we do of life. I feel like for life we see through things, we don't really look at things. Like I said to you earlier, I think we're not like children, we've habitualized because it's always there in our space. We don't really see it properly. Now, a great example of this is when we travel. The argument against this, and not against it, but the way we can see life like it's first time is when we are traveling, because then we are in a situation where we don't know the location and we get excited. I think that's why people love to travel. As adults, it makes us feel like kids again. We're seeing everything for the first time. That's what it feels like to be a kid 24/7 though. But you get a little bit when you travel to new places all the time until you habitualize. It doesn't take long, by the way. I figured it's only take us a few days, and you, especially the first day you're excited, the second, third day, fourth day you habitualize. But anyway, you can replicate it when you travel, but the best way to live a life where you're not, even if you're, the trick isn't to kind of like give yourself novelty all the time, because a kid doesn't give themselves novelty, but they still see everything for the first time, like, if that makes any sense. So you want to be trying to see as much as possible in your life things for the first time, not taking things for granted, habitualizing as much more. And the only way to do that is to, well, the only way, the way to do that is to raise your level of consciousness, to switch off this habitualization mechanism. And the best way is meditation, whether that be sitting and focusing on breath, 20 minutes, half an hour a day, conscious meditation whilst you're walking, or the Equisync program I do, which I listen to breath, by the way, whilst I've got the program, so I'm amplifying it even more, or whatever mechanism you've got. Even powerful health protocols like aged urine, grounding for a long time, fasting will help switch off the mechanism. But that's the point of life, I feel. Like, the point of life is to not take for granted, because I think taking shit for granted and just walking around like I do with that tree, I just never really saw that tree. I mean, I always passed it, it was always past my field of vision, but I never really looked at it like I was looking at it for the first time. I never really saw it, and I feel like that's what we're all doing. I feel like that's what we're all doing. We're not really looking at things. we're seeing through things. Like, we're not really present with things. That's what I'm trying to say. We're not really present to the moment with things, and it's hard because why should we be? We're not, you know, it's it's an habitual pattern of laziness that we all get ourselves into because there's no danger. You know, only if fight or flight kicks in for most of us, then we'll wake up, or we just don't know a place, then we have to use our resources. But the trick and the mastery of life is to bring us back to that childlike sense of wonder that, you know, oh shit, this is, seeing shit for the first time is so beautiful. And I had that moment today, and I have it a couple of times with Equisync, and I hope to build it more in my life. I think, like, it's a habit that we should be striving towards, and the best way to do it is to keep meditating and building the neural connections of not, it's like a neural pathways of taking shit for granted are like very strong. And another great way to stop taking shit for granted as well, and to break those neural pathways, is psychedelics. That's a massive jump for you. A little trick and a hack for people that don't want to sit and meditate all the time. Take high dose psychedelics, and you will switch off that mechanism that, just, you know, that's neural firing pattern of your life story and your fucking, you know, taking shit for granted. You switch it off, and then you see shit for the first time. So yeah, it's amazing. That's what I wanted to say, really. That it's beautiful, these moments of, you know, when you return to being a kid, and they might be few for you in your life as you build habits of meditation, but with practice and with high elevations of consciousness and work and meditation, all the health protocols we're doing to up and up, we can eventually get to a point, we're not getting to a point, we can eventually bring more presence and awareness into our life, of actually look at things and be present around us. And maybe one day, that I think there are adults that are so present like kids. I believe that's possible. You know, to be as present as a kid, to be with all the wisdom that comes with, entails of being an adult or an old person, or have you lived such life, and, you know, not like a kid, like in terms of naive because you haven't lived life, but you've got that, but also you've got that childlike sense of wonder, and you can live life almost like a kid, looking around and thinking. I think that happens to all adults, in my opinion. I don't know this. I think, in my opinion, it happens to all adults as they get older, because the ego seems to lessen, and I think the ego lessens for everybody, because no one can escape the idea when you're 60, 70 and 80 that you're going to die. So you think about death more often, because all the people around you that grew up with you are dying, and you know you're not going to live forever, and that's just a part of the human progress. So I think for everyone it happens when you're 80, like when you get old, you get this ego kind of dying down, and the old neural pathways of taking for granted die down, and then you appreciate life more. And so that's why you quite often see, not all old people, but you'll see a lot of old people very content and happy and chill with their life, having not accomplished much. And it's not about accomplishment, it's about that they're seeing shit because they know that their experience in life is kind of, it's like the beginning and the end. The beginning, as a kid, you're very present at the moment, and at the end, you're brought back to awareness that you could die. And so that's the thing. Another topic I could talk to you forever about. The tough part in life in duality is the middle. It's not the beginning and end. The beginning and end is the easy parts, the fun parts. Like when you go and do something fun with your friends, you know, at the beginning you're excited, and then you're with them for 5 hours. You know, it's hard if you stay sitting in a room not doing anything fun together, like just talking. It's hard to maintain that state. It's always the middle part of life that's hard, and it's midlife crisis, huh? But at the end, at the beginning, yeah. But our challenge is to bring more presence to the middle part of our lives, which is I'm in at 30 years old now, the middle. Alright, peace. I hope you got some value. Let's stay present, and let's try and consciously bring more meditation and happiness and presence, and actually see things, right? And I'll try and see this camera as I leave you. Peace.